Patrick, so you have a good experience going to them. First, we'd like to introduce ourselves. Hi, I'm Maggie Avis. I am a sophomore at NC State, obviously. And my major is math, and this is my third semester as a career ambassador. And a fun fact about me is that I recently went to Florida and for Disney for the first time as 20-year-old.
Hi everyone, my name's Emma. I am a junior, double majoring in industrial engineering and English. This is my fourth semester as a career ambassador. My fun fact is that I spent the last week of Christmas break in California where it was nice and warm and not snowing.
My name is Christy Norton. I am a junior in electrical and computer engineering. This is my fourth semester as a career ambassador as well. And fun fact, I love all animals. While we're doing activities, if you have animals, please share. And I have 2 dogs and 2 horses at my home in Maryland.
Throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Just want to throw it out there right off the top. But before we get into the wonderful topic of career fairs, we want to do a little activity to get the energy up and just to have a little fun. So this activity is called Make a Friend, cleverly named by me. And so you're going to find someone in the room who has the same answers as you to these questions. So you're going to find different people for each question, and the twist is that when you find someone who is the same year as you or prefers pancakes like everyone should, then you're going to find something else in common. So you want to answer these questions, and then with that same person, find something else you have in common. Like maybe you're both like weirdly cheering for the Patriots in the Super Bowl, or stuff like that. So yeah, so get around, meet as many people you have, meet as many people as you can. Yeah. You can get up, walk around, you can't, you don't have to sit at your table if you don't want
Well, it's good for the soul. I don't know if it's necessarily good for your body. So, I've heard it. It's been on my Okay.
And I have.
Okay.
What do you say, pancakes or waffles? Yeah, me too. We have it in common. Absolutely. Waffles. Yeah, same. Lighter. Pancakes can be kind of like just heavy. What are you studying? Wonderful. That's fantastic. Have you met your career counselor yet, Wes Wade? Yeah, that's who assigned a chemistry major, just so you know, in our office. It's great. You get to use your resume for TAs or help with choosing career paths. Are
common with.
Hopefully we need some besties.
Oh.
Sorry, technical Alrighty, so thank you for everyone participating in that activity. Something new, so we're trying it out. It looked like it went really well. Hopefully you'll have some new friends. The reason we did that exercise, besides it being super fun, is also when you're going to career fairs, you're also meeting with people you've never met before. And it's really important to make connections with them in a very short period of time. You want to make a lasting impression on the recruiters and company representatives who will be at career fairs. So being able to find connections with them is a great way to make a good impression with them. Maybe obviously the questions here probably aren't applicable to that situation. I wouldn't go into a meeting with asking if they prefer pancakes or waffles. But it's definitely a good exercise, silly way to do a really cool activity. But making connections like that, or seeing if they're NC State alumni is a great one. Maybe they're in the same major as you. Maybe they're from the same town. Something like that you can make connections with. So when you're researching a career fair or talking to them, don't be afraid to stray away from the very professional questions about their company. You can also get to know the recruiter as well. Making connections like that is a great way for career fairs, which we'll talk about later.
Okay, so what we hope everyone learns from today's session is the steps to take to prepare yourself for a career fair, what and what not to wear, because that's a very important thing, I think, and how to give a winning elevator speech, and also how to give a great handshake. I noticed that some of y'all were shaking hands when you were meeting people, and that is fantastic. That's a really great way to practice. But we also realized in preparing for this that not enough people are taught how to give a good handshake, so that's actually something extra we're going to cover today. So, who has been to a career fair before? Okay, good. Yeah, about half and half. Good. So, those of you who've been, what did you like about it? Anything?
If you answer, you can you?
Yes.
I
Saw
really
your
liked.
face light up.
There were lots of really cool companies
Yeah.
that did like lots of very interesting things, and you got a chance to like talk to representatives from it.
Okay. Would you like peanut butter and chocolate or mint and chocolate?
Mint. Exactly.
All right. Yeah.
Opportunities.
Opportunities. Okay, great. Yeah. So career fairs, we're actually going to talk about this a little later too, but career fairs are a great place to get a sense for what's out there for your major or your field. Anybody else have anything they liked?
I like how, I guess you said, I was able to learn more about what's out there, or more, like, what companies offer internships, when those internships are posted, and as well as, like, what you do with those internships, and what criteria they are.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Does anyone have anything they didn't like about their experience at a career fair? Yeah, I mean, what do you?
So for my major, it's kind of like the most thing that was out there was going to vet school. So it wasn't a great experience because they didn't really expose to like what other things can you do besides going to vet school.
Right, and we're going to get to this in a bit too, but a good tip is to go to career fairs outside your specified major. You can also find opportunities there. And mentioning that.
It's pretty crowded and awkward.
Yes, I sympathize with that. Did I see a hand up back here? No? Anyone else? Nothing they liked? Oh, yes.
You have to wait super long on lines waiting to meet up companies, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like you said, they do get pretty crowded, and we actually have to get to that coming up too. Let's see. Oh, yeah.
The most negative thing I found about it is that going in as a freshman, and then you get rejected immediately like for any internships there.
Right, and we're going to kind of discuss, y'all are asking really good questions because you're touching on things that we're going to be talking about like this entire time. We're going to discuss kind of the value of going as freshman, sophomore, outside your major, and all that stuff in a little bit as well. So for those of you that haven't been to a career fair yet, what are some concerns that you have, and hopefully we can get them addressed? Yes?
I have no idea what kind of career I want.
Okay, well, into that. We'll talk about that. Going to a career fair is a great way, like I said, just to see what's out there. So even if nothing else comes of it, you at least know what's out there. Anybody else?
I have a question. Does that resonate with anyone else in the room that you have no idea what career you want, so it's a little overwhelming to go? Yeah, definitely. I was definitely there the first time I went to a career fair, so it was very overwhelming. I ended up finding that the experience was good because I saw a lot of different things in companies, like what their cultures were like that you could see from the recruiters, the way that they present themselves, that I wouldn't have known beforehand. And I learned from that experience that to me it's really important who I'm working with and what the environment's like. So it's definitely something you should look at, even if you just go not knowing what you want to do.
Going into that.
So the reality of career fairs is you should go for many different options. You can go to career fairs to figure out what you want to do, get some ideas of the kinds of companies that are looking for people who are studying what you're studying. You can also find out what different options you have for companies as far as like small companies. We talked earlier, we were talking as a group about how getting a small internship at a small company is sometimes better than getting one at a big prestigious company because they'll give you more responsibility. So you can see those different aspects. And you'll get practice networking with people, which is always a little stressful. Who was a little stressed during the Make a Friend activity? Got any introverts in the room? Yeah. I know sometimes I have difficulty going up to recruiters and talking, and I think it's really awesome to practice that as often as you can while you're in college because there are so many different people here that you can make connections with, and a career fair is just like that in a professional setting. So you get the opportunity to go to the career fair, talk to many different people, find out how you should communicate with people by the responses you get as far as body language and such.
Alrighty, so first thing you want to do when you decide to attend a career fair is prepare for it beforehand. This can make the whole process so much more easier and you just go in feeling more prepared and ready. So first thing you want to do is make a plan. So on our handout we talk about preparing for career fairs, and one of the first things we say is go to EPAC, which is a great tool at NC State. And what you can do is you can RSVP for your career fair if it allows you to. And then you can also, on EPAC, which I used when I went to a career fair, is choose your top 10 companies. First, you can see all the companies coming, and then with using EPAC, you can pick your top 10. I believe it's top 10. So you can definitely do that. And once you have your top 10, the next step you want to do is make your A, B, and C companies. Your A companies are your dream company, the one you're dying to work at, you have to. B companies are not. It doesn't have everything you desire in a company, but it's pretty close. And then C is pretty much your backup, but they're still important, but they're not a priority when you're doing this. So once you have your A, B, and C companies, what you'll want to do is research them more. So you'll want to look at maybe their mission statements, what the company is currently working on, different stuff like that. Maybe you'll want to look at what recruiter will be at the career fair, who recruiter will be at the career fair. And the reason you want to do those, and this is such an important step, it will help you create questions you might not think about on your own. So when companies say, do you have any questions for us? And you're like, nope, I'm good. And that's not a bad response, but it does show you took more initiative and you were more prepared if you have questions ready. It's also, and we'll talk about this when we talk about elevator speeches, it's a great way to end your elevator speech to continue that conversation. So having questions ready, I know when I went to the career fair, I asked a lot about the culture of the company because that's really important to me, the environment I work in. I love working with people and in teams, so when I was talking to companies, that was a big question for me. And it just showed them that I was prepared. So you definitely want to do that beforehand, and like I said, I can't stress this enough. Career fairs are very stressful, it's a lot going on, so when you have everything ready and together and you know what you want to say, you're more than ready for it and you're just more relaxed. Another pro tip is that when you go to career fairs, you talk to your B and C companies first. So that way you kind of get practice in your elevator speech and talking and asking those questions. And so when you're more relaxed and ready, you can go talk to your A companies and it's just natural. It's not too much stress.
Yeah, and going off of what Maggie said, when before I worked as a career ambassador, I went to my first career fair, my very first semester of college. Didn't go in prepared, so I was so nervous. I was just shaking. I didn't want to go talk to anyone. And then I went up to the first company, and I was like, you got this. Pepping myself up the whole time. Walk up to them, I'm feeling all confident. Shake their hand, and I say, hi, my name is, and then I read the recruiter's name tag. So that's why you want to go to your B and C companies first. If you make a mistake, get that out on not your dream companies, so that you make a really good impression with your dream companies.
And as we mentioned before in our Make a Friend activity, having those questions ready is a good part of having a natural conversation with them. You want to make it as comfortable as possible, and so having those questions ready not only shows you're prepared, but makes the whole thing just flow so much easier.
So the next thing we want to cover a little bit is what to wear, because in my opinion, what you wear can kind of make or break your mood for that day. So you want to feel as relaxed and as confident as possible, so you want your power suit, and that is why we advocate that you wear business professional to your career fair. So as you can see in these pictures, which are also in your handouts, you want to go with dark conservative suits for women. That can be slacks or a skirt. You can do a classic dress as well. That's also an option. Make sure your shirt and or tie is not too bright. You want neutral and tailored clothing. For women, your heels should not be too tall, and you're going to want, if you opt to wear stockings, something neutral and natural colored. For men, dark socks, and make sure that your belt matches your shoes. That's actually something that's very important that can often be overlooked. So, next thing is no big gaudy jewelry. Make sure your tie is a little more conservative as well. You want to really draw attention to yourself, what you're saying, and what you have to offer to the company, and not necessarily what you're wearing. So the purpose of this is to bring the focus off yourself onto your voice. And a quick note that we wanted to cover is if you have multiple piercings or tattoos, I actually have both. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that your tattoos are covered. And if you have multiple piercings, either wear the smallest earrings as you can or take some out. I mean, for me, even if I take out all the ones I can, I still have 4 earrings in my ear. So it's a personal choice, but make sure that you're showing off yourself. Unfortunately, it's not something that we want to have to cover, but there are still some stigmas out there that can affect someone's perception of you. And while it can be that is your personality, and you do need to show that, it's important with how you fit in with the company, you want to put your best foot forward and have them, as I've been saying, focus on what you're saying and not how you're looking at any biases they might have about you. So does anyone have any questions on what to wear?
Do you need to wear long sleeves?
You don't have to, but I mean, if you're more comfortable like that, you can. It's definitely not recommended. I wore a very nice blouse, but it was sleeveless when I went, and that's fine. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
What's the consensus on bow ties?
I've actually had this conversation with someone before. It's really interesting. Public perception is that bow ties are less formal. So going into an interview, it was recommended that you wear a tie because bow ties are seen as more kind of fun. Although there was a situation, and this tied into the conversation, the bow tie was this man's personal brand to the point where his business cards were shaped like bow ties. He didn't own ties. All he wore was bow ties. His business card was shaped like a bow tie. Like, it was his thing. So he wore bow ties. But I don't know. I feel like that's a little far for some of you. Recommended as a tie, bottom line. But And also with that, it brings up a very good point. To a career fair, you're definitely going to want to go more business professional, but to the interview after that, if it seems like a smaller, more relaxed company or a startup, that's a great place to wear more business casual clothing instead of business professional, which can allow you to wear brighter colors, a bow tie, show off your sense of style and personality more a little bit. But to begin with, you want to go as high as you can. And in interviews, if you're not sure, go with business professional, because being overdressed can be impressive, but being underdressed can show that you didn't care or prepare enough. So.
And all of the examples here and the ones on your handout are business professional. And a way to just turn that into business casual is to get rid of the suit jacket. If you just go with a tie and a button-down shirt for men, women if you want to wear that too. But losing the jacket automatically makes it almost business casual. You can also wear khakis at that point.
Brighter colored shirt if you wanted something other than like white or black or blue. And a great resource on campus is the clothing closet in Pullen Hall in the Career Development Center. We have a closet full of free professional clothing that you can come and shop through for interviews, for career fairs, for anything that you might need it for. Yeah.
And just to hone that in, it is free, and
Yes.
you get to keep the clothes afterwards. So if you need professional attire for a career fair, for an internship, come by the Career Center. The walk-in hours for the clothing closet are Tuesday and Thursday, 10:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., and that is also on your handout with the clothing information.
We do recommend that as a last resort because there is a good chance you won't find something that matches your outfit. However, it is still a great resource. That's gonna happen. And I just want to add on a quick story about, if you ever have to question, is this professional enough? You might be a little, you might want to go a little bit more professional. And like we said, if you're ever unsure, just go professional. You can't go wrong. They'll never be like, this person just looks too professional. So keep that in mind. A quick story I want to tell is someone who works within the Career Development Center. She tells a story about how she likes to dye her hair and she has piercings and tattoos and she's a great asset to the Career Development Center. But when she was interviewing for this job, she dyed her hair back, she covered up all her tattoos and took out all her piercings that were just not necessarily like, I think she might be them. But so that's just one way. And then once she kind of gauged the environment within that company, within the Career Development Center, she was able to, now her tattoos are showing, her hair is dyed. And so it all depends on what company. So if you don't feel comfortable or if you don't think you truly understand the nature of the company, always go professional, and then your style can change as you get more comfortable and understand that company for an internship or full-time job or anything like that.
All right, so what to bring to the career fair? I want to get from you all first. What do you think is important to bring to the career fair?
The resume.
Resumes. All right, anything else?
Your smile.
Your smile and a good attitude. That's
That is
important.
literally written in our notes for the slide. I want you to know, like, you're spot on there.
Anything else? Any other tangible objects?
A business card?
Business card. If you have business cards, that's an awesome thing to bring. That's an easy thing to hand out to recruiters.
Maybe a cover letter.
A cover letter? Yeah, cover letters are typically tailored to which job you're applying for. If you have a general one to hand out at career fairs, you could. We don't typically bring them, but that's an option. Anyone else?
A page of reference.
A page of reference?
I mean, it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt, but just to make it less stressful, we only recommend your resume and business cards if you have them. Everything extra, like I said, I don't think it can really hurt you at all. But if not to put too much stress on yourself, just really, the resume is the biggest thing, and business cards are just kind of icing on the cake.
Not to mention, at career fairs, the new kind of status quo, and this, I'm also telling you all this so you don't get disheartened when this happens, is for recruiters to tell you to apply online. So you can have like the best conversation in the world, at the end of it, they're still probably going to tell you, please fill out the online application. And that's because I actually experienced this in getting my co-op. There, a lot of companies, it's a requirement, and for HR, for HR purposes, they have to follow a specific protocol for hiring someone. Your name has to be in the system for them to be able to contact you for an interview. So it's pretty standard nowadays to have them tell you to apply online. So extra papers like the cover letter, the reference page, those are going to be included in an online application. So it would help and streamline things to just have one piece of paper to get out.
Yes?
Would it be a good idea then, if you're really serious about that job, to apply and then talk to the person there and say, I just did it?
Absolutely. Applying for a job before you go to career fair is a great thing to do, and most recruiters will even ask you if you have already. Perfectly okay if you haven't, but it's honestly really awesome if you apply beforehand. Was there a question about?
Oh, I was gonna say also bring in a folder.
Yes,
It's
that's
like,
exactly
I felt like a chump because I had like a manila folder and stuff was like falling everywhere.
Now,
Yeah.
manila folders work in a pinch. If you don't have anything and it's the morning of, I mean, that's a perfectly acceptable option. But if you have time to run a couple errands beforehand, Walgreens and CVS, I think that might be on paper, actually have very cheap Padfolios. I didn't know that. I was in Walgreens for like, vitamins or something, and I saw a Padfolio for $5, so I bought it, and it's very professional looking. So
the short list of what to bring to the career fair, you want to have a Padfolio, resumes. You should print the few for your top A and B companies on resume paper so that it looks very professional. And then you can print extras on regular paper so you're not wasting money. Emma was telling
Right.
us when we were planning to launch that her first career fair she went to, she printed a ton of resumes on
15.
resume paper, and your
Like
resume is a
5
living
copies.
document. So
Right.
it changed, and she could never use them again.
I think I gave out 3 on my resume paper and then brought home 12 resumes on resume paper, and it was like, well, I have to throw these away now
Yeah.
because it's going to change in a couple of months anyway, and it's just a massive waste of money, and we're all college students, so let's not go through the same thing that I did.
So in your Padfolio or folder, you're going to want to have the notes that you took during your research, and also a pen so that you can write things down, like recruiters' names or notes after you talk to a recruiter about things that you remember, so you can follow up with them later. So a pen, a Padfolio with a notebook in it, your resumes, and then if you have business cards.
I just want to stress again that writing things down is an awesome thing to do, especially when you're trying to follow up later. We don't recommend that you write when you're in the career fair center, with companies all around you or talking to someone. We don't necessarily recommend you stop and start writing stuff down. When I went to my career fair, I just quickly stepped outside and wrote down like who I talked to. You want to get the name of the person you talked to in case you want to follow up, company, and then this is really important, what you guys talked about. If you guys talked about something specifically, you want to write that down so you can remind them later if you want to follow up. And it will just help. They meet a lot of people, a lot of students, so it will just help bring that back to their memory, back to the surface. So the arrival, the time has come and you are going to the career fair. Some things you want to do is you want to get there early. Getting there early is very important. I understand some people have classes, so you might not be able to, but definitely if you have the option to go early or later, always choose early. One, because the recruiters will be fresh. They'll be like very first thing in the morning. They won't have talks of 50 plus students. So they'll just be better energy, and you might, big possibility of going early is beating the crowd, and that's just very less stressful with not having a ton of kids around you.
If you do have class in the morning, actually something you can do is talk to your professor about getting it as an excused absence. This actually hasn't happened to me since like my first semester freshman year, but professors would say, if you're going to career fair, let me know, I'll excuse you for this day. So they haven't actually said that since freshman year, but like, never hurts to ask, you know, because it's I mean, the point of college is to get a job, basically, like in the long run. So that's what, I mean, that's like kind of the end goal of being in college for most people. So professors understand that, they know that, and they know that this opportunity is important, especially, like for me, my Tuesdays and Thursdays, I go to work at 8 and have classes back to back until 2:45. And so by then, like it might be too late, you might be too tired, you might be having a bad day, and you just really can't deal with crowds. So ask, it never hurts to ask.
Never hurts to ask, always. So you get there, you're talking to them. Sorry, you have not talked to them yet. So another thing is you want to travel lightly. A lot of career fairs, I know the Steam Squared one, and you can't even bring a book bag in the engineering one if you wanted to. But there's book bag checks, and some do, some don't have coat checks. So that's definitely something you might want to look into. So you want to travel lightly because you will be accountable for like everything you're holding. And like we said, you want to give them a handshake and you don't want to do the little shuffle, just hold on a minute and just, all right. So travel lightly as you can. When getting there early or when you arrive, you want to sign in. Most career fairs at NC State have name tags, which are a great thing to have. Because I don't know about y'all, but when I'm talking to someone, I instantly forget their name as soon as they tell me. So having name tags, the representatives usually have them, and then you having one also helps. And then another thing, another awesome resource at NC State career fairs, most have, the one I went to have, they have LinkedIn headshots. So by getting there early, you give yourself plenty of time to get your book bag checked, you can sign in, and then you have time to get a LinkedIn headshot if that resource is available. I know I went to the career fair not necessarily looking for an internship, but one of the many reasons I went was to get a LinkedIn headshot, because my LinkedIn picture was not professional. So that was a really great resource you have. And then just making the arrival easy. So like we said, once you arrive, you kind of want to scope it out, maybe see what companies are located where. I took like 5 minutes to find like my first B company when I got there. And then locate your companies and then just start talking, and you'll be good. But definitely just to summarize, get there early if you can, travel lightly, and sign in. And take advantage of all the resources available at a career fair. Any questions so far about what I just said or anything we've talked about?
Can we talk about getting there early? Because I know there is such a thing as like being too early. Like if it says like they open at like, I don't know, like 9 a.m. Are you talking about getting there at 9 a.m. or like getting there like 8:30? I know it's like a little bit extra, but
The only one I've been to is the Engineering Career Fair in the Kemmons Center, but they don't open the doors until 9.
okay.
So, I mean, we could get outside for half an hour and like be the first in line, but, right, so getting there before it starts, you don't really need to do that, but.
It's not really like Black Friday shopping where like you're thousand bucks in the doors. It's a little bit more relaxed. So don't like run all the way to like Tally or the New Canaan Center. You'll be fine. But just getting there at a decent time, as early as you can, that your schedule allows you to, and then when the doors open. I wouldn't worry about getting there, first in line, 30 minutes early. Yes.
For the engineering career fair, how early do the buses run to that place? Because on here it says that you can't drive.
Right, the buses will be running the entire time the doors are open. So I'm assuming the first bus would get there at 9 o'clock if that's when it started. And they run very regularly, like every 5 minutes there's a bus.
And that's definitely something you can add on to when you're prepping. If it's not at Tally and it's somewhere off distance, looking at bus routes beforehand and just making a game plan around that. Any other questions?
Question?
Yeah, so are the recruiters that you talk to at the fair the ones who review your applications online? If
That's
they
not
tell
always the case.
Sometimes.
No,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, sometimes recruiters are hired just to go meet students, and they might be working from an HR standpoint and can have a say, but a lot of times it'll just be as far as getting you to the interview process where you'll be talking